What's up guys, my name is Dean, aka the Blue Crusader, and welcome back to the channel. So yesterday I showed you how to install the worst hacked client for Minecraft 1.16, but now on the flip side of the coin, we're going to be showing you how to install the ARISTOIS client, which is a completely different client and it has very similar mods inside it, but some people use ARISTOIS, some people use worst, so I'm going to show you how to install this one today. And there's a lot of different features in this, which we can see on this screenshot. You can just see how many features are actually in this. All of these headings are part of the menu in game with all of the different mods in, and I'm going to show you how to actually use this today because this is a really good mod. Now I'd recommend not to use this on multiplayer. This is the disclaimer which I always mention at the start of these videos, because you may ruin people's fun, you may get kicked or banned using this, and it's Minecraft. At the end of the day, what's the point of using all of these cheats in multiplayer? There's just no point. There's not really any point of cheating in Minecraft. I can understand Xray because I've used Xray myself before, mainly in single player, but all of these different mods, there's no real reason to take these to multiplayer, so we're just going to be messing around with them in single player today, but you guys can use them how you want to. That's just a disclaimer. So we're going to jump into how to install this now, and I'm going to show you the full process, and then we're going to try out the mods, and I'm going to show you how it is in game and show you a few of the different mods in action. So as you can see, it supports versions from 1.8.9 to 1.16.1. So we're just going to click this download button right here, and it should take us to the mirror to actually download it. Now, as you can see, it says build 301, and it says 1.6.1 here. And the interesting thing here is that it supports from 1.12.2 to 1.16.1 in this version. So you can actually connect to older versions of the game. For an example, you can connect to different servers on older versions of the game, which is really interesting. That's actually why I think the client's also quite good, because if you're not going to use any of the mods or cheats, you can use it just to play on multiple different versions of Minecraft on multiplayer at the same time, which is really awesome. So we're going to click the free download because we're not a donator and we're not going to do the donation version, and it should take us to some kind of download mirror. And the unfortunate thing is it will take us to an AdFly link. These are notorious. Just deny any of these pop-ups. If it says, do you want to enable notifications or give permission for some kind of notifications on your system, just press decline, because most of the time you'll either get a virus or just annoying spam messages, which are really frustrating. I really don't like AdFly links. You'll see a lot of the videos I do where I talk about the top 10 mods and mod downloads. I never make the links on AdFly. I always link directly to the downloads, because I really hate when people use AdFly links, because it's just a source of viruses and just tons of ads you have to sift through, which is really annoying, and sometimes you can't even get to the download. So just skip all those, and at some point you should get the ARISTOIS free.jar file. And then all we're going to do is left click this ARISTOIS free at the bottom left in our download section down here, or just go in your downloads in your Windows folder and open it up. And when you've done that, it will actually open an updater and installer. So you just want to click continue, and it says which Minecraft version would you like to use ARISTOIS with, and it gives you a few different versions all the way back to 1.8.9, which is the original version it supports. Now we're going to leave it on 1.16.1, which is the newest version, but you can also revert back to 1.16, 1.15.2, 1.14.4 or 1.12.2, so that's just a few of the more popular versions. So we're just going to leave it on 1.16.1. If you're watching this video later, you can use the newer version, and press continue, and then it says next you'll choose your launcher and Minecraft directory. Now I do have multi-MC, but I'm not going to be using that, so you want to leave it on the vanilla launcher, which is the standard Minecraft launcher, and it should be in the right location here. This looks right in the .minecraft folder, so we're going to click continue, and then it will install it, and I believe it will install it as a profile in the Minecraft launcher, which is called release 1.16.1 ARISTOIS, and you can just click directly launch Minecraft here, and it will close the installer, and then it should open up the Minecraft launcher for us so we can select the brand new profile. So we're going to launch that now, and then we're going to jump into the launcher, and I'm going to show you the ARISTOIS client. So now if we load up the vanilla Minecraft launcher, the standard Minecraft launcher, you'll have a new profile here with a diamond block down here on the left, and it's the ARISTOIS 1.16.1 client. So we're going to keep this selected, If it's not selected, then select it and press play. And the great thing about this is the fact that it installs it directly for you. So it's a really simple tutorial because you just use the installer to actually get it on your system. And it will put the profile directly inside your client. Now with the worst hacked client, which is the other one which we installed yesterday, which you can check out on my channel if you want to try that out, we had to install that manually with Fabric and then install the mod into our folder. So that was a little bit more tricky for people who don't know much about mods, but this is a really simple one. So now basically we're just going to jump in game, test it out, see if it works, try a few different commands and some of the mods, and just show you guys what you can actually do and the mods you can use on the ARISTOIS client, how to configure it and how to set it up so you can use it yourself. So when we first jump into the game, it should have a few different instructions on the screen on how to actually use the mod menu itself. So we can open it with the right shift button, which is exactly the same as how we used the worst menu, and then we can enable and disable mods by left clicking on them. We can middle click on each different mod on the menu to assign them to a key to create a keybind, and you can scroll through the mod tabs. So, one interesting thing is there's an actual IRC channel, which is a chat channel in the thing, which can be a little bit irritating, but if you see some random blue messages in game, it's not from the server you're in, it's actually from the chat channel, which is built into the mod client, so keep that in mind. And then we're going to jump into our single player world, and we're going to test out a few of these different mods and show you the power and potential of the ARISTOIS client. Okay, boom. So we're in the game now. So as you can see, like I said before, there's all of these different chat messages in the chat. Just completely ignore these. Now, I've actually changed the location of my camera on screen right now because you can see that there's a few different things that have appeared now on the screen. So, as you can see, we're in game now, and it's raining in the village, and you can see we now have the mod menu on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side at the top right, you can actually see that the active mods are actually displayed in text. So any of the mods that are enabled will actually be flashing in multicolored text on the top right, so that's how you know that things are actually enabled. So you press right shift if you want to toggle the menu, and as you can see, it gives you a little bit of a tutorial. So we can right click on the menu, we can scroll, we can right click on a mod, and it opens the options. So that's basically the tutorial. Now we know how to use it. So what we could do to enable things is if we press escape, it will take the menu away. If we press right shift again, it will open them up. So I'm going to move all of these around so they're more visible and there's a little bit more space here. You just hold left click and you can just drag all of these different buttons around and put them anywhere on screen basically, and then you've got them when you actually need them. So now we have all the headings, so I'm going to go through a few of these. So there's the search key, where if we right click we can type something in and search for a mod, and then there's the auto one. So let's test out a few of these. So auto sneak mode, as you can see, it's toggled sneak mode automatically. And then we've got things like auto sprint, which is really useful. Obviously we have to disable the auto sneak, but the auto sprint just makes you sprint instead of having to double tap W or hold left control when you're running. So it just means that you don't have to do that, which is pretty useful because if you want to sprint all the time, providing that you have an energy meter and your hunger bar's full, then I'd recommend just turning this on because it means that you don't have to press any additional keys, because for the most part you always want to be running on Minecraft. Then they have things like auto chest, which steals all items, auto tool, which is pretty nice. Depending on which block you break in, it will actually switch the tool automatically for you. So I'm just going to try that out. Let's just go quickly into game mode survival, which is the command to go into survival mode. If we just go to a tree, and if we punch it, it actually switches to the axe. This is actually really nice. I actually think this is one of the best mods in this client. For a start, I have a mod like this on Fabric, so I can use it on multiplayer. So whenever you destroy something, it will switch to the right tool, which is really nice. If you punch a pig, for an example, it will actually switch to your diamond sword as well. So anything such as sand or dirt, it will switch to the shovel. Or the trees, it will switch to the axe. It's basically that simple, but it's a really useful mod. So there's some little things in here like that. Also, if you don't want to open up that huge menu, which I've been using on the right control key, you can just scroll down with the arrow keys on this mini menu here, and then you can just press the right arrow to actually open up the menu and see everything here. So we can actually do everything from this mode instead of going into the big menu. So we have the chest ESP, where you can see all of these yellow blocks through the wall are actually the chests in the village, which is pretty cool. The item ESP would show items that get dropped on the floor, which glow in this weird white outline. So you can see all these dropped items like bones, and it's the same for entities, so it shows mobs through walls, which is kind of cool. There's no real reason you need to see mobs. The full bright thing is probably the best though, because when it's nighttime and you can't see anything, if you toggle the full bright mode, you can actually see everything like that, which is really nice. Now for some reason it's still showing the spider over here, even though I've turned off the mob ESP, so it's a little bit glitchy. But the full bright mode is really nice, especially if you're using X-ray. And then no weather mode turns off the weather. If we disable it, the weather will come back. Obviously it's not going to change the weather on a server, so if we enable this on a server, the server's still going to have the weather, but you just won't be able to see it on your end. Then there's the chunk viewer, which is not specifically finished yet, and you can see all these chunks. Now there's no point really using this, because if you hold F3 and G, you can actually see all the chunks in the Minecraft game anyway, so using the chunk viewer is pretty pointless, to be honest. Then we have a few different things. We have the structure finder, which is really interesting. I'm not sure how this actually works, but obviously as the name says, it's supposed to help you actually find structures in the world. So perhaps it will help you actually find structures if you come close to them, but I haven't personally tested it out. Wait, this is actually really good. So for people who don't know how to use bows, this is the trajectory mode, and it's based on where your arrow is actually going to land. So it will render kind of like a 3D box or cube, and it will show you exactly where your arrow is going to land. It's not 100% accurate, but this is actually really nice to actually take bow hits from long range and see if you can actually hit stuff. Now, the further it gets out, it's actually kind of hard to see where the box is, but you can see I perfectly hit that creeper all the way from over there when it was standing still, because I could see exactly where the arrow was landing. This is why you shouldn't bring these things into multiplayer, because if you're playing on PvP, this will really ruin the whole experience for someone. The fact that you know exactly where the arrow is going to land, that's something that you would only know if you'd actually played with a bow a lot on Minecraft, so that's pretty overpowered. The fact that I got that creeper from all the way over there. Then there is one of the most sought after features in this mod, which is the Xray mode. I've been making a few Xray videos recently because everyone wants to know how to download it. This is the Xray mode, okay? So a lot of different mod packs and menus like this do have an Xray mode. This is another method that you can use Xray on 1.16, and this is a really nice one as well because all of the blocks are completely transparent, so we don't have any problems seeing through things like with the resource pack. And especially when we pair it with the full bright mode, we can see basically as far as the eye can see, and as far as your Minecraft render setting is set as, so we can see a lot of ores in the distance, which is super cool. So that's probably the biggest highlight of this. Then there is the dinner bone mod, which I believe makes mobs go upside down or something. I don't know how that actually works. Then we can actually show some pretty cool stuff here. Now what I really like is the GUI setting. So the GUI setting allows you to display some other stuff on your HUD and your UI in game. So we can enable the armor display, which shows us which armor we have equipped down here with a few different icons, which are currently showing the netherite armor pieces that we have, and it shows the durability, which is really nice. Then the better crosshair, which some people might like. Personally, I don't really like it, but if we go into the GUI menu on here, the reason why we go into this menu is we can actually customize stuff. And we click on better crosshair and then right click it. This is why it's so good, because we can actually customize the crosshair. So we can change the length of it, we can change the thickness of it, and we can change the actual distance between the actual spacing. So then when we go out of the menu, this is now our crosshair. It's kind of like a CSGO style one, and the colours like a rainbow effect. It's kind of hard to see unless you're looking at the ground sometimes. You can already tell the crosshair's far better than the Minecraft one, but you do have to customize it, because at first it will appear really bad. Then there's the HUD, which you can turn on and off. As you can see, this just toggles certain information. So on the right, it shows information about your items, so it'll show the item durability, it'll show the direction you're looking at, if you want to basically use it as a compass instead of using the F3 key, which can be a little bit annoying. It shows the ping if you're on a server, the FPS of your game, and on the left side it shows what server you're in and your actual coordinates. So it's a really nice HUD, so I'd recommend having that on. Then there's the radar, which I would presume someone would probably just want to use this in multiplayer mainly. It shows all the NPCs around you, and probably would show players. It shows all of the mobs which are in red are the enemies, so all the zombies and creepers and skeletons, and all the white dots are either villagers or friendly mobs, for an example cows and stuff. So that's pretty cool. I personally find that to be too cluttering on the screen, but if you would go into the right shift menu and right click it, you can keybind it as well. So I'm going to toggle that off. Then there's the mini player render, which is currently upside down. I'm not sure if you can actually change that. Yeah, you can't change that. That's slightly broken right now, but if you look on the right under my camera, there's a little version of my player. That's basically mirroring or trying to copy the Minecraft Bedrock version, because that has like a little version of your player model on your screen on the Bedrock version. So that's basically what that does. Then under movement, we have a few different things. So we have bunny hop mode, which, to be honest, isn't really that good, because I mean you can bunny hop anyway on Minecraft relatively easy. These things are all for PvP. You can turn up the speed as well, so let's actually try this out. Okay, yeah, that's definitely cool. So there's the bunny hop mode. For some reason my player is sitting upside down now. I know why that is, because I thought it was the mobs before that the Dinnerbone thing did it to, but the Dinnerbone mod turns our player upside down. Okay, so now I know why my player's upside down. So yeah, the B-hop is actually good. I thought it wasn't. But if you enable it, it will automatically jump when you press forwards, so W, and it will jump. And if you turn the speed up, it will jump extremely fast. And not to mention that, but I've also got auto sprint on, so it will automatically sprint when we jump. So it just B-hops all around the map, which is super cool. I would presume that if you would take this online instead of in single player mode, I would presume you'd probably get kicked for this, because I'm sure servers could check how fast you jump in and the milliseconds in between each jump, but it's still pretty cool to mess around with. Then there's blink mode. So what this does is, this is actually really cool. I've never seen this before. If we enable it, it will kind of ghost my player out of his body, and then we can walk to the right and then turn it off, and it'll teleport us to the new position. I don't know what's the point of this, because we could just literally run anyway to the position, but it's just a really nice cool mod. Then there's the bunny jump, which will make us jump even higher. I'm not sure if that works with B-hop. Let's try it. Okay, so we can B-hop and bunny jump at the same time. So we're bunny hopping, but we have a higher jump, so that's pretty crazy. There's fast ladders, which makes you climb ladders faster. The flight mode, which even though we're in creative mode, this will just enable flight. There's a boat flight mode, which I would guess that you can fly in your boat. I don't know how that works though. Okay, that's actually really crazy. That cannot work on multiplayer. I'm calling it right now. This does not work on multiplayer. That's actually insane. So I placed down a boat and I put it in a pool of water, and we're actually flying on the boat. We've turned the boat into an actual plane. That's actually so cool. So the flying boat mode lets you actually turn a boat into a plane, which is awesome. And then if we turn it off, we just drop. Then there's the free cam mode. This is obvious. This is just the camera mode. This is in like most of the mods or mod menus, and we can basically use this just to go around the world and see everything. So when we're in free cam mode, the caves don't always load. This is mainly just because my render distance is actually on really low in the default settings, so the camera doesn't really do anything in terms of that. But we can look into all the caves, we can view all the mobs. As you can see, this part of the world hasn't rendered now. You need to have your render distance set to high in the options, otherwise your player will not render the blocks the same rate as the free cam does. So that's really nice to take screenshots and just generally explore the world. Then the look lock locks you on one position, which I think is pretty useless, but... And this is another one we tried out yesterday. So the Jesus mod is one that allows you to walk on water. This is in the other mod pack we tried yesterday. So let's just dig a little lake out here and just to show you. So the Jesus mod, you may think it makes you invincible. It doesn't. It just lets you walk on top of water, which in my opinion is so cool. It's a little bit glitchy in this mod pack though. In the other mod pack it was a lot better. I think it's maybe just because of the type of water source I've created. It might not be the mod, but it allows you to basically walk on water, which is so cool. Then no fall, I think that's just no fall damage. And then safe walk, what that does is in Minecraft by default, if you hold shift, you can't walk over the edge of a block when you're building, so you can't fall down and die. Basically safe walk, turn this on, does exactly the same thing, but instead of having to crouch, it just does it automatically. And then when you jump, you can actually still jump off the block. So when you've got this turned on, it won't let you walk off the edge, but if you jump, you can still walk off the edge, so you don't need to turn it off. It's actually really useful because sometimes you don't want to crouch when you're building, so I really think that's a great feature. It's little mods like this where some of them are useful. Some of them you could actually take on a server and use, and they won't harm other people's fun or their experience on the server, because some of these mods are actually just little utility mods that are still fair to play with. So there's actually some really good mods in here that you could actually use and not really cheat or ruin people's channel's experience with. So that's a really cool one, which I recommend. That's actually useful for building. Then there's a few different ones. So world, we can turn on fast break and fast place. We can turn on the nuker mode, which we showed in the last video, which is just absolutely crazy. And the nuker mode always lags, whatever you do. So I'm going to turn that off now, and we're going to go into fly mode, and we're going to have to fly all the way back up the world, because the nuker mode, since we're in creative mode, destroys bedrock too, but by default usually it will not destroy bedrock. It depends. If you're in survival mode and you're not an admin or in creative, it will only destroy stuff based on what tool you have and what permissions you have, so it won't destroy bedrock usually. It's just because I'm in creative mode and single player. Then there's all these anti-tools where you can auto farm things. Now the combat is another feature, so you can auto disconnect when you're on low health, auto respawn. The bow aim bot, let's try this, pretty crazy. This is one example of why this should definitely not be allowed in multiplayer, and why I'm actually quite glad that a lot of servers have plugins to combat this, because even though it's Minecraft, I'm sure some people would probably actually want to use an aimbot in PvP, which is pretty stupid, because Minecraft's like the most basic game where you just build. There's no really real point to actually use this on, because it's not a competitive game at all. But it's actually really funny though, because if we spawn, for an example, if I just spawn some zombies, let's place down some zombies. I've already shown you in action. Every time you right click with a bow, it will just snap onto the zombie's head, which is real funny, and when it moves it will follow it and perfectly hit the zombie every single time. Even from range, it actually does really good. You can see the zombies all the way over there, and we're still hitting him perfectly every time, so that's pretty overpowered. Kill aura, I believe, will do the same, but it only does it for hostile mobs, so we can get our diamond sword out and it'll just kill everything around us in a certain distance or range. And increasing the reach as well means that you can actually hit things a lot further away, which is really cool. Then there's the trigger bot, so if we have a sword and we move our mouse over a mob, it will automatically attack anything that's in front of it. Then the auto clicker, I would presume you just use that to auto fish or just to click on things on servers, which is also something that's mostly not allowed. Then the other section is mostly just things to just grief with. This is the kind of stuff where people who grief use. You can see a few different things. There's a mod to just go into dirt mode. There's a mod to spam the chat. Just basically just mods to just ruin the server. There's other mods like auto parkour, which is actually really cool. I'm not sure if this would work very well. I guess I'd have to use this on a parkour map, but when you run to the edge of a block, it will perfectly jump at the edge of the block so you don't fall down. So I can imagine that actually being really cool to try out. Then there's auto jump, auto sprint that we've already used, and a few other things such as auto walk, so maybe you don't have to go AFK or it won't kick you. So some really cool mods inside this mod menu. So this has been a really long video. It's been a lot longer than the one yesterday. I just wanted to show you how to install this and a demonstration of all these mods, so use these how you want to. Personally, I find it really fun to just mess around with these in single player, because I've not actually seen any of these mods before, and I had no clue that you could actually use these in Minecraft, which is pretty funny. So use these how you want to use them. This is how to install it. Make sure to like the video and subscribe, and check out the other videos if you want to know how to get some other mods or Xray for an example. And drop a comment below if this video helped. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next time.